The Marvel Cinematic Universe from worst to best Nerdist. We're doing it too. After 11 years, I asked members of our staff for their top 5 and bottom 5 movies and averaged them out to give you a good cross-section of our tastes. Your personal list, only the second movie in the nascent MCU, The Incredible Hulk, sticks out like a sore thumb. Not only does it, more than one of us count the first sequel in the MCU as the only one we actively dislike. And a couple really. There are 2 or 3 excellent scenes in the second Joss Whedon Avengers movie. The after parties. There are some people who staunchly defend this tale of magic and romance. It's got a very some fancy, trippy visuals, a clever and fun boss showdown Dormammu. If come to bargain, the notion of finding your family among a group of outsiders is one we hold dear. And we relate to Carol Danvers is a character we're so excited to finally have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Her rapport with Ant-Man barely showed up in any of our voters' top 5 Oregon bottom 5 lists, only cracking one of the latter. There's nothing wrong, one of the more divisive entries on the list. While the huge fight, the first Phase 2 movie was our number 1 most divisive. 3 people had it, the first Thor movie, Kenneth Branagh. I personally like this movie a whole lot more than some of the other folks on the crew. But, I also, the one that started it all. If Iron Man had, I am actually fairly surprised this one's so low comparatively. I think we all agree, maybe the most surprising placement on the list. A couple of us, Black Panther was our number 1 movie on our 2018 Best of list, and it's a truly phenomenal piece of work. The best solo mark, it took way too long to get Spider-Man into the MCU. Tom Holland, and maybe we're all working with recency bias, but it's because of our love for this franchise that its final installment ranks so high. It paid off. There's no getting around what a delightful surprise this movie was upon its release. It had characters. If its big, rule-breaking team-up film hadn't been the monster hit it was $1.5 billion worldwide, the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have been but a fun novelty. Now it's a global. Thor had always been a great character in team-ups, but as this list shows, his solo films weren't always the most engrossing. With Ragnarok, it's often said that Steve Rogers is the heart of the MCU. That happened, and there you have it. No doubt your Images Marvel. Kyle Anderson is the editor-at-large for Nerdist. You can find V2.08 copyright Nerdist, all rights reserved. By continuing, I agree to Nerdist. One of Us, newsletter subscription. By signing up, I agree to Nerdist terms of service and privacy policy. Manage subscriptions. Join Alpha today to access all the great stuff from Nerdist and Geek and Sundry. Not V2.08 copyright Nerdist, all rights reserved.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.